What is more important in our business, value or price? We all know what price means, but what exactly is value? In terms of business and in the way that we operate, better question is, why should we care? Why should we care what value is? Have you ever heard of somebody refer to the term value and wondered what in the world they're even talking about? Maybe you've even heard it from me. If we always make sure that we're the cheapest in price, isn't that the best way to compete? I talk about value proposition all the time in my videos, in my interviews, things like that. I talk about it nonstop because learning what value proposition is and was is and how to use it is, to me, it made my businesses better. And to be honest, it was part of what made me a millionaire. In this video, I'll discuss how I analyze things and how it affects my decisions and where to take my business next. Dave, Laundromat Millionaire Men's here in Cincinnati, Ohio. First things first, this video isn't just about laundromats. It's about business and entrepreneurship. So if you own a business or you're an entrepreneur, watching this video a few times may click with you. And who knows, it may change you from a thousandaire to a millionaire. Okay, so let's get right to it. Let's define what value proposition is. Let's get started. It's really pretty simple, guys. The formal definition of value proposition is an innovation, service, or feature intended to make a company or product attractive to its customers. Simple enough, right? Listen, I've taken run-down, dumpy laundromats that were unprofitable from the basement of our industry to near the top of our industry by doing one thing: obsessing over providing the best value to my customers. In the end, value proposition is how customers decide which businesses to use. And don't kid yourself, every little thing matters when you're trying to differentiate yourself. Yes, some things matter more than others, but everything matters, every little detail. Question: are all steaks the same? Yeah, steaks, like you eat them in a steakhouse. Are they all the same? Have you ever had a cheap gristly steak or super high quality filet from a high-end restaurant? Do they charge the same? No, of course not. Would you ever expect to pay the same? No. The truth is, we can get a $10 steak at a lower end restaurant, or we can get a $110 steak from a fine dining establishment. And although they're both steaks, they're both definitely not the same thing. Are these two restaurants competitors? Absolutely not. And here's the key: both of them know it. They both know that they're not competitors. So why do so many business owners not understand this? These steak restaurants are in the same business. They have the same product, but they're not competitors. Period. End of story. So let's jump into my industry, laundromats, and look at value proposition, and let's compare a few things. So how do I determine what my prices should be in my specific industry? And just to be clear, I didn't always know what I know now, and I didn't always do what I do now. This was an evolution process for me. It was an evolution of learning what value proposition is, dissecting it, becoming an expert on it, and more importantly, pricing properly for the value that I bring to the market. So here's the thing that I've learned over my years in the business, and it's what took me from $20,000 to millionaire in about 8 years. Every single month, I now review my stores visually and mentally, and I ask myself the same 3 questions. Number 1, what is my value proposition to the market? Number 2, if I were a competitive laundromat, and I was going to build a laundromat right across the street, what would I do to provide a better value proposition than the way my store operates right now? And number 3, who are my customers? Who am I targeting? Who am I going after? Who do I want to come in and use my business? And who do I not want to use my business? Who do I not want to attract? Back to price for a second. There's people out there that believe the only thing that matters is price. Don't believe it, folks. Don't buy into that philosophy, as it's not true. These same people will tell you that higher end businesses, even laundromats, don't make any profits. That's absolutely nuts. And it's really the polar opposite of the truth. And what you'll find out is these people a lot of times offer or operate businesses at the lower end of their industry, whether it's a laundromat or not. And they've never actually operated a business at the higher end of an industry. And so they say these things as if they're in theory, but they have no experience with them. Maybe they've even had a few people tell them the same thing that they believe, which is, yeah, people that operate at the top of the industry, they're not making any money or very little money, but definitely less than us guys at the bottom of the industry who are really, really smart. Let me ask you a question. You think Chick-fil-A makes any money? They are the highest priced fast food restaurant on the planet, but they are geniuses in my opinion. While all of their competition beats each other up day over price and the dollar menus, they are focused on value. And Chick-fil-A wins the value proposition battle every single day. The people who believe that only price matters, they have a scarcity mindset. Their mindset is that they can only generate a finite amount of money for their services, and so they compete on price. I love competitors like this. They're fantastic. This scarcity mindset believes that the only thing people care about is price, and they want to spend as little as possible. Now, of course, if all things are equal, who wouldn't want to pay less? But there's a caveat. Things are never equal. I can tell you that this is 100% true in the laundromat industry, and it's true in every other industry as well. Since these people believe this falsehood, they also believe that they can only charge so much for their product. But I disagree with them, and I think I'm living proof of it. In fact, my bookkeeper, my CPA, and my bank accounts beg to differ with them. See, I'm not talking in theory. I've done them all. I've run low-end plain Jane laundromats with limited expenses who were very profitable. And now I run higher-end, top-of-the-industry laundromats. And guess what? I've got news for you. The top of the industry is more profitable than the lower-end operations. Why is that? One word: value. Let's take a look into my value proposition versus my competitors. You see, if two people own laundromats nearby, then they're both in the laundromat industry, but they're really not competitors because they're serving different parts of society when their value proposition is greatly separated. So let's take a look at a few examples with my stores. Here's a brief description of one of my competitors. I'll show you a video of the inside of the store so you get an idea of what that looks like. This competitor has a smaller store in square footage, mostly older, smaller equipment, and at any one time about 25 to 40% or more of their machines are out of order. They have a plain concrete floor that's cold and unkept. They vend on quarters only. In fact, a lot of the times when I stop in, their change machine is empty, and sometimes for days at a time. I guess they figure a change machine is a luxury, and people will just get quarters somewhere else. And they may be right. Additionally, they have below average location. It's more in a residential area. This competitor has very limited parking. Their parking is inconvenient. It's cumbersome to use. And it's also kind of cumbersome to use their old rusty laundry carts. Their aisles are narrow and tight. The store is functional at best, but definitely without any extras like free Wi-Fi or comfortable seating. In fact, their store has very limited seating and folding space for the customers, and the temperature in the store is almost always uncomfortable, regardless of the season. Yep, that's right. Their store is cold in the winter, and it's hot in the summer because heating and air conditioning are added expenses. So they keep those expenses at a bare minimum or turn them off completely. Their restroom is small, dark, and dirty most of the time. This competitor's laundromat is completely unattended. This means there's no employees there to help customers or clean on a regular basis. They have a local person that they call a contractor who comes by to straighten up every once in a while. But if they don't show up sometimes, the competitor doesn't even know that they didn't come. And honestly, I don't know that they care. I could go on, but you guys get the idea. This laundromat is the stereotypical laundromat in every sense of the word, And guess what? Their prices reflect it. They have bargain basement prices that border on not making any money at all. In fact, they make so little money that they can't afford to ever reinvest in their business, nor can they raise their prices. Let's take a quick look at their store in this video. So it looks like both of the customers left, so I'll go ahead and talk a little bit. Notice the prices are pretty depressed. I'm not even sure how old these machines are, to be honest with you, but it looks like they have top loaders at $225, $250 with the extra wash, extra rinse, which is actually, for the condition of this store, is actually pretty aggressive pricing, which I guess that's why they don't do a lot of volume. I have pulled their water bill for this location, which, for those of you who don't know, you can pull your water bill and get a rough, it's not super accurate, but you can get a rough estimate of the type of revenue that the store is generating based on their prices and gallons of water used and things like that. It's not an exact science. But as you can see, this is an older laundromat that's been pretty neglected over the years. They try to keep everything running. This is a pretty stereotypical laundromat, unfortunately. So their prices are actually, not too terribly far off of mine, which is kind of shocking, to be honest. But to give you an example, we have double load washers at our stores, which are $4, and they're at $225. So there are some cases where we're almost 100% higher, and then our dryer prices aren't drastically different than theirs. We charge $1 for 24 minutes on our 34 or 30-pound dryers. So maybe it's time to raise our prices. Who knows? But it's good to see that they, unlike a lot of competitors that offer more functional plain Jane laundromats like this, it's good to see that they actually are aggressively raising their prices and trying to keep up with us. That's actually good for me as far as a value proposition, because the more they raise their prices and keep their value pretty low, that just tells me that there's opportunity in the market to raise the prices. But as those of you watching this, you've probably seen laundromats in much worse condition than this, and I have as well. So this is an example of kind of the lower end of the industry as far as value proposition and pricing and things like that. Okay, so now let's compare that store to one of my stores on the east side of Cincinnati. Now my store, it has all new equipment, rarely has anything out of order for more than a day for sure. This store is always attended by well-paid and well-trained attendants. We invest heavily in that. They have managers on duty that they report to directly, that they're accountable to. Our stores have nice wide aisles, modern facilities, comfortable seating, plush couches, tons of folding space, and you guessed it, new laundry carts for everyone. For payment system, this store offers convenient dollar coins if you prefer, but for no additional charge, we have credit card swipe right at the machine or the ability to pay with our phone pay app. Our store sanitizes every single wash for no additional charge with our SaniWash ozone system. Need change for your $20 bill? Have a problem with a machine or even just a simple question like where to place your pods? We have someone ready and available to help at a moment's notice. It's called customer service. Want to drop off your laundry with our attendant? That's fine as well. We have a professional drop-off service for your convenience. We have 55-inch TVs with over 200 cable channels. We have soothing and comfortable background music. The temperature is always a comfortable 69 to 70 degrees. And we even have a children's play area with free books that you can take home for free if you'd like. Our restroom isn't just clean, it is modern and immaculately clean all the time. Here's a picture of it right here. Lastly, we have tons of convenient parking, and our employees will even help you carry in and out your laundry. Again, you get the point here. See the difference in value proposition between my competitor's store and our store. Okay, so now we've seen two different ends of a specific industry, my industry, the laundromat industry. But it really doesn't matter the industry because value can always charge substantially more in price and still win the game, just like Chick-fil-A, just like the high-end steakhouses do. So as you saw in the videos, both my store and the other one are technically laundromats. They're both technically offer the same thing. They offer the same products, but they really don't. They both offer completely different value propositions. And guess what? They charge accordingly. In fact, you may be surprised to know that in most cases, our store is 100% higher in prices on nearly everything. In some cases, way beyond 100% more. To give you an example, we have some competitors that charge $1 for a 20-pound double load washer and have for over 2.5 years. Now, it's not the one you saw in the video, but it's another competitor. It's actually a nicer facility. And they've been running a loss leader of $1 for a 20-pound front loader for 2.5 years now to try to capture market share. We haven't lowered our prices at all. In fact, my double loaders are $4. That's 300% higher for the same size machine. And yet they can't capture any market share. Additionally, I did some basic analysis as far as gross revenue. And based on my calculations, the store of the video that you just saw versus the competitor that you just saw, it seems like we're doing about 600 to 700 times more in gross sales. So here's my challenge to you and in your business. What could you do differently with your business to raise your value proposition? Whether it's a laundromat or not, the truth is most of society appreciates and will pay for the best value proposition. There's thousands of examples of this, like the Chick-fil-A's of the world. So look at your business through the eyes of your customers. Have a friend come along and do some critical thinking. Have them look at your competitor stores. Have them look at your stores. Now, not the customers that you necessarily would want to attract, but look at it through the eyes of your customers that you wish to attract. So here's the thing. I'm going to ask you to do one thing with your business, whether it's a laundromat or not. Ask yourself the same 3 questions on a regular basis that I ask myself. What is my value proposition? If I were a competitor and I were going to build this business right across the street and compete with me, what would I do or change to exceed my value proposition? And number 3, who are my competitors? Who am I going after in the market? And who am I not going after? After asking yourself these 3 questions, you'll know where you are in your business, you'll know where you need to go, and you'll know what customers you're trying to attract. And if you do this exercise on a monthly or even bi-monthly basis, you'll be pretty happy with the results. You'll probably ward off competition that looked in your area and decided not to because you're on your A game. The reality is that in every industry, there are many different value propositions out there. It's your job and my job to decide who you are and what you are, and then go be that to the best of your ability. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget to charge for it. That's right. Charge for the value that you are bringing to the table. And that means completely and totally ignoring that competitor. The competitor that really isn't a competitor to begin with. The fact is that you and your business can charge double or more of what these supposed competitors charge. You must be sure that you offer the best value proposition first, but you can charge more. The decision is yours. Do you want to be a thousandaire or a millionaire?